Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday evening. I tell you what, I don't know about you, Bruce, but this week has been one long week. And on Thursday night, it's almost as though I'm sort of ready to put on my pajamas and get to bed on a Thursday evening and pack up. It's been a long one this week. We've had a rowdy week with our young Aaron Smith joining the One Live Music Academy. And we've also had some absolutely amazing music played by our indie artists, just like Bruce. It has been a great week. We have been supporting Heart and Stroke all week. I have seen you share the videos, share the website, and donate to this amazing charity. So I want to start off tonight's show by saying fantastic, good work in week 3 to all of the artists, all of the people who have been watching the show. You have continued to support Elizabeth, okay, and she is absolutely buzzing with joy that you have helped her over the past 3 weeks raise awareness and raise money for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. We go into week 4 next week. We don't know who the charity is going to be as we spin the wheel and we find out yet again what charity we will be supporting. As I said on the show at the beginning of the week, we turned 100 episodes 2 days ago. You know, 100 indie artists were telling us our story, but that means over 200 charities have been mentioned on the One Live show, and that means lots and lots of support to all those amazing people out there, but lots of journeys in terms of how the music industry really does benefit you out there for local and national charities. And I started off that week with Bo Hoss by bringing out a single, Me and My Shadow, and it's been absolutely great to be able to sing again, hear my song on the radio, hear it on Amazon, and also here on all the streaming episodes. It's been a great week, absolutely fantastic week. So what we're going to do this evening is we are going to go straight into our artist highlight this evening, okay? So, Bruce Coughlan, I tell you what, 50 years in the music industry in relation to indie artistry. It's been a good one for you, young man, and you still keep going and winning all those awards. Let's rewind the time. Let's bring you back to when you was a teenager or when you was a young boy. Was this really the choice that you wanted in life, coming into the music industry, or was there something else that you dreamed of?
Well, I tell you for a fact, my defining moment, my musical awakening, happened when I was 6 years old. I'd been 1967. My father took me to the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Vancouver, British Columbia, where I live, and to see the Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem, an Irish band of great renown at that time. And from the 5th row, they bounded onto the stage, and I knew in a heartbeat how I was going to spend the rest of my life.
Wow.
Some people go their entire lives without...
Is the Irish connection? I was trying to go on your Facebook and try and get your Irish connection. You've got a bit of an Irish accent there. I gather you're not from the US. You are actually from Ireland. Have you got an Irish accent? Am I got it right?
No, I'm a 6th generation Canadian. So you're hearing a bit of a Canadian accent. And I also spent, although I identify as Scottish, I've done 13 tours of Scotland.
That's where it is.
And immersed myself in that culture and that music. And it's, we adventure.
That's where the Celtic music comes in. I see it now. I get the connection now. Get the connection. Have you been to Scotland? Have you been over here? Have you been over to the Scottish Isles?
I've been to Scotland 13 times.
18 times.
I've been all over Scotland.
What was your favourite place in Scotland?
Well, there's so many little remote villages everywhere. One of my favourite is a little town called Kinlochbervie.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, it's lovely. It's 300 people living in a little fishing village on the west coast. The small village on the mainland of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So it really has, and it has a connection to Vancouver, British Columbia. When I was introduced to that story, how a 16-year-old in World War I got the Victoria Cross, moved to Vancouver and joined the police department, and in his 22nd year was shot and killed in the line of duty.
Wow.
And it's a powerful story, and one that's taken me back to Kinloch Burvey a half dozen times, and to celebrate this young fella's life. So I do bear a certain affinity to those in Scotland, because in the Celtic tradition, I write a lot of songs that are historically based, preserving Pacific Canadians' history and heritage in song has long been a passion of mine. I have combined a website recently called stirringupghosts.ca, and it tells the story.
I see that. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
So it
I
tells
mean,
a
it was
story.
very.
I was going to come on to that later on in the show, but I'm interested to find out now, because I'll tell you what, we've had other guests. I think Rick Revel uses songwriting in terms of telling stories and telling historian stories. So this Stirring Up Ghosts is really interesting me. Tell us a bit more about it.
Well, it began 25 years ago as a concept for a school show, so we could teach young folks about their history and our heritage here in Pacific Canada. It's not something that's not really brought up these days. We're a very global society, and a very young society. I mean, the Indigenous people, of course, have been here for 10,000 years, and their culture is just emerging, which is a beautiful thing in its own. But how we became such a global society and the steps that brought us there are really interesting. And I portray those in songs of both heroes and villains. So you can get an idea, a snapshot of what it was like at this time or that time. So it's just a song is just
how powerful music is.
Yeah, at least I hope so. I think I've been a couple of generations now of students who have learned more about their history through my music, and that's
music. Fantastic.
If anything, I think that would be my legacy.
Is that in schools or universities and colleges? How do you get that sort of message out to people when you're talking about people learning, about your music and about the background connected to your music?
Yeah, well, as I said, 25 years ago, we started doing a school show where we go into different schools, sometimes 2 and 3 a day. We'd perform these songs and I tell the stories, and that became part of our concert, our concert show. So we'd go from community to community, and depending on where we were, different stories would have more impact. Okay, if we're right on a coastal town, I can talk about Spanish banks and how the Spanish and English first gave names to a lot of the places. So there's a lot of information.
I wish you was doing my history lessons. I remember back in school, history was really, really boring, and the boring teacher that used to teach it really didn't excite us one bit. But doing it your way, I tell you what, I would have stayed in the lesson. I would have been really excited to come and learn the next session. It'd been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, I think the young folks at that time, the live music really was, for many of them, their first access to live performance, and that it would have something to do with their history. I think it's always magical if you can, when I look around my Pacific coast here, and I can see things the way they are today, but I also, in the back of my mind, can envision how they were 200 years ago, and those influences.
Definitely. So 50 great years. Go on.
Yeah, so from there, I was in elementary school. In grade 4, I was taught the ukulele. So I started playing the ukulele, and I always had an understanding for all the for music in general. I could just sort of, I just understood. And so by grade 5, my fingers were I was 11, and my fingers were getting big enough to handle the guitar. So my music teacher, a wonderful lady, taught me a few chords on the guitar. And by the end of that year, I was teaching her chords on the guitar. In grade 6,
Fantastic.
she stuck me on the upright bass, the Hillcrest
Oh,
Elementary
brilliant.
School folk band. And
Wow.
2 years of playing bass, and we play at different schools and little community events, that sort of thing. So by the time I was 13, I moved to a different area, and I ended up in a secondary school where my music teacher was somewhat of I don't know. He wanted me to read music, and I've never read music.
Okay.
I've just sort of understood it on a level that I could interpret it. And so he'd be in band, he'd have everyone playing When the Saints Go Marching In. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
great song.
dun, 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 dun. Yes, but I had heard the New Orleans style jazz, and I was on a trumpet, so I started improvising. And he came over and he told me, that's not how it's written there. I said, but that's how it's played. And he told me that I had no musical aptitude, and he kicked me out of the band.
I bet he's kicking himself now after all these years.
Well, I don't know if he's still about, but I left school. He kicked me out of band and choir, and I left school within a week, and it's all I've done for the last 50 years. I started playing on street corners, busking and sleeping in parks and that sort of thing. But and my first television performance was in 1974. I was 13.
Wow.
So from that point
when you
on,
say television performance, was that by music? Was that doing music television performance?
Yes, it was. There was a morning show at a local television show, and they wanted to feature local artists. And so I went into my bedroom and sat down with my little cassette player and recorded a song, put it in an envelope, mailed it off to the station, and they phoned back within a week and said, sure, we'd love to have you come in. And I went in and sang a couple of original songs that I'd written at 13.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yes.
13 years old.
So
Can you compare now from 13 years old? You know, you've moved through so many generations of music. You mentioned there putting a tape recorder together. You know, I was in that generation with the tape recorder, you know, and getting it stuck in the machine and, you know, having to rewind with a pencil and things like that. We have gone so far as the music generation, from tape recorders to digital, from records to MP3s to the latest Amazon Alexa. You know, for you must have gone through so many different stages of your music career, playing with some great people on stage, mixing, you know, in terms of the places that you've toured and you've gone to. You know, memories over the last 50 years must be absolutely amazing. What's been your best moments over the past 50 years for you?
Boy, that's tough. I think probably as a Canadian singer-songwriter, the apex for me was Canada Day in 2008. And I was invited with my band to perform on Capitol Hill, the nation's capital, a live audience of over 250,000 people.
Oh my God. I'm lucky
That's
to get 250 people on my gig. 250,000. Jeez. That must have been absolutely amazing.
It absolutely was. And again, it was to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Simon Fraser's journey down the very river that possesses his name. And I was invited to celebrate the bicentennial, but because I'd written a song about it.
Amazing. How did you feel playing in front of so many people? What been your average sort of like festival or gig before that? Was you playing to the hundreds and then all of a sudden it went that big? It must have been really scary.
Well, no, I mean, in those days, the concept, stirring up ghosts, had just caught on, and folks were kind of celebrating our culture. And a typical festival gig would be, from 3 to 10,000 people.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so a
It's changed.
folk
I was
festival.
actually listening. I was listening to one of our teachers' radio interviews on Radio 5, the Paul Austin Band. And one of the interview questions that the presenter asked, he was talking about the day and age that we live in now, that people won't spend money to go and support local artists, but then they will spend hundreds of pounds on a mainstream artist for a ticket price, In relation to where you're living now, are they supporting indie artists? When you go out now, are you still playing in front of those big crowds, or have they reduced dramatically?
I think as a culture, the live music culture that I came up through in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even into the 2000s, I remember a time when the Greater Vancouver area had 20 Irish pubs. And then a decade later, they had 30 country music venues, cabarets. And that was the really popular thing. And that's how folks met each other. That's where relationships formed. And it was a pretty organic thing. You could go to a different country music club and get a different band with an entirely different flavor to it from one night to the next. One would be a Tex-Mex sort of thing. Another would be old time. There's so many different subgenres that and the nuances were just amazing. They still had steel players and fiddle players and live drummers. Imagine that.
Imagine that. And I think it's been really scary. We live in a generation now where, pubs and clubs are getting closed down. The money in the industry is getting harder. So for indie artists, we do look to the internet. We do look to social media. We do look into collaboration in a completely different way in what we used to. There are still pubs open with live music, and anyone going out this weekend, please go and support your local artists, okay? They desperately need your support, but actually there is nothing better than going out on a Friday evening and enjoying a live band or enjoying a live artist and having a great time and mixing with friends, and just enjoying the music. I know it's getting harder for everyone out there, but you know what? There's nothing better. Come away from that TV and that screen time and go and join your local artists wherever you are this weekend, because there's some great artists out there to entertain you and really have a good fun night. I've seen Bruce's videos on YouTube, and I've also seen him on the Facebook page, and it always looks as though you have a really fun night. Everybody really enjoys your music, Bruce. For yourself, how to keep people away from those mobile phones. Is it a case of mixing some cover songs with some originals, or do you still find that people are going straight to those cover songs and it's hard to get those originals over?
It depends on the venue. Okay.
It does.
And I try not to have an ego about it. If someone's paying a ticket price to come see me, they're going to get 100% me. And that's it. If I pick up, a casual engagement at a pub or something like that, and people come in, yeah, I'll take requests. I have somewhat a savantic memory for songs. I know and can play approximately 5,000 different songs.
Wow. You're like a human jukebox. It's like, Bruce is playing tonight. Hang on a minute. Here's a $5. Can you just play that one? Do you get that when you go out? Is that one of the things that you do? Is it like everyone's like, hey, Bruce, play that one?
Yep. At one point, I was actually billed as the man with the phonographic memory.
Wow.
So if it's on vinyl or 8-track, I know it. There's a lot of traditional music in Irish and Scottish Celtic music that one of my passions is Scots vernacular music and songs. They're timeless. It's amazing what they can say with words.
I tell you what, I think we're 19 minutes into the show. I've loved finding out the history of your music and also some things to know all about what you get up to, especially the Celtic and the Scottish music and your background into music is absolutely amazing. But what I'd like to do now, we're 19 minutes in, I'd like to play one of your songs so people can get to know your music. I'm sure they already do. And then after that, what we're going to do is we are going to talk awards and songwriting, because I tell you what, it goes on and on. There's a list, and there's something I really need to ask you about the ISSA this year. Okay, so in relation to your music, you've sent us two over, and I think what we're going to do is we are going to start off with a bit of a jolly tune from Tilly's Folly, called A Simply Extraordinary Life, which I'm sure you've had over the past 50 years. Tell us about the song.
Okay. Well, I live in a town called Maple Ridge, and across the river is from the Fraser River from Fort Langley, which is renowned as the birthplace of British Columbia. And I was commissioned by the British Columbia Farm Museum to write a song about the birth of agriculture in British Columbia. And I isolated it down to a fellow who got the first homestead on the Fraser River, and his stretch of land is about half a mile from my house. There's a high school in Maple Ridge called Samuel Robertson Technical, and nobody knows who Samuel Robertson was. He was the first preemptor on the Fraser River, and there still is today, but by the time he led a certain simply extraordinary life. He was from Orkney, quiet, unassuming, sort of fellow who wouldn't say boo to a mouse. But he was always thinking, he was always planning, he put in hard days of physical labor. As a person born and raised in a farm in Orkney would have that sort of working ethic. By the time he retired, he owned over 700 acres and had developed it all.
Wow. Fantastic. So we're going to play this song now. I'll tell you what, I'm loving tonight's show. I feel as though I've learned lots this evening. I'm going to carry on learning lots after the song. Enjoy the song. This is Tilly Folly, everybody, and It's Simply Extraordinary Life. Here we go.
From a land where legends are born of stone neath the vast leaden sky. Of the life he'd led, it could never be said he had ever let time pass him by. He worked with his hands building flotties and yawls, and like many's a lad in his day, signed on for a term, and from there not returned from those lands far beyond Hudson's Bay. You can't gauge a man by the coat on his back or the work-a-day work that he plies. Sam Robertson lived in his own quiet way, simply extraordinary life. Westward he made the work at his trade till he came to the Fraser's green shore, where he started a life with his new country wife. One of promises never came the time of the great Fraser gold rush, in the days of the fur trade's decline. What cheer came the toast, Sam was the host, selling gold miners whiskey and wine. But he dreamed of a home and land of his own, with orchards and gardens and greens. To the river's far shore he'd take to his oars, to plant there the seeds of his dreams. Who'd ever thought so humble a man could prove so pragmatic and wise? Sam Robertson lived in his own quiet way, he'd once dreamed a home and lands of his own is today where fair Albion stands. Samuel lived out his days in a quiet, peaceful way on 700 acres of land. Now you can't gauge a man by the coat on his back, nor the work-a-day work that he plies. Sam Robertson lived in his own quiet way, simply extraordinary life. A simply extraordinary life.
Fantastic. Absolutely great music. I'll tell you what, I wish you was around in my history lessons. I would have got an A. I absolutely love that way of learning, and I expect they had an absolutely amazing time and an amazing sort of adventure in relation to your stories. Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
And I've decided to take the next step towards preserving these songs in a format I call a songumentary. And short documentaries about the subjects and song. So if your listeners wanted to find out more about Samuel Robertson, go and check out A Simply Extraordinary Life on stirringupghosts.ca, and you'll find pictures and more of the story, and a 13-minute songumentary.
Songumentary. I like that. That's quite catchy. You know, we've talked to artists over the last 100 episodes about the way in which their music's gone into books. And we have had a lot of artists write books from their music, you know, become songwriters and publish some amazing books, you know, but I like that. That's a really good concept in relation to how music goes up into the Scottish Highlands and into the Celtic Mountains. So in relation to yourself, music awards is the sort of thing that you've got quite interested in your sort of your career, whether that's been something you've gone into or whether that's something that's just basically everybody thinks, you know what, absolutely great music from 1980 to 2024 and still going for it, young man. Those awards keep piling in. And let's start off with the International Singer-Songwriters Association last year, 2024 Best Male Artist, Gold. How was it over in Atlanta last year?
That was, well, as you probably realize from all your interviews, COVID-19 was the death of many careers. You know, it just basically stopped live music dead in its tracks, and we still haven't quite returned to that sort of thing. So the wonderful thing that Tamani has put together in the International Singer-Songwriters Association is just spectacular. The entire process is great for engaging your friends and fans. And
18,000 people now.
Yeah, that's right. People who are going, okay, and then they see a different name and go, wait a sec, I know that person too. And they follow and they support and they post and they spread the word. So just if it was only the engagement factor of the ISSAs, they would be worthwhile. When I received it,
when you received it, what did it feel like?
Oh well, it was. I sort of. It was at the very end of the awards, and sitting there for 3 hours, and we'd gone through everything, and down to the male vocalist, international male vocalist, and they went, okay, well, here's the bronze, and here's the silver, and my heart kind of sunk as I'm sitting there in my chair, thinking, well, you know, what are the chances there? When they called my name, I was so flabbergasted. I hadn't really even prepared. Any thoughts I had about, you know, what I was going to say completely fled my mind. I just walked up and I just said, thank you. You know, 50 years, this was a great way to celebrate and to be acknowledged within the industry by my own kind. the creative
Definitely.
spirits that showed their support and said, you know something, yeah, you deserve this.
You
And
do.
I've been able
50 great years. You deserve it. You really do deserve it. You've committed so much to the music industry over the past 50 years, you know, in relation to teaching young children through your music, through your history lessons, you know, in terms of supporting local and national artists and bringing joy into people's world over the last 50 years. That is an amazing thing to be able to, in 2024, have a gold, you know, award from a prestigious ISSA to actually celebrate that 50th anniversary. And it's well deserved. And I don't think any of us would have wanted anyone else to pick up that trophy in 2024 than yourself, Bruce, because we have all watched your career and we've all seen the amazing things that you do, and it's thoroughly deserved. And I know Tammy is, you know, would say exactly the same. It's definitely thoroughly deserved. But that award actually puts you into being a judge this year, doesn't it?
Yes, but what it was able to leverage for me was I've got a new agent. You know, he's very, very well connected and opening up a lot of doors right now. And he'd been introduced to me through a common friend and someone else on his roster, and said, "Oh, this is the guy." And so I started sort of courting his interests about 6 months before, and he kind of hummed and hawed, and yeah, well, we'll see. And this award cinched it. He said, "Okay, we'll give this a shot." And yeah, Charlie Jacklin of Luna Productions is doing an amazing job, and he's booking a number of my presentations because I front 5 or 6 different shows right now.
Brilliant. And it does. And the International Singer-Songwriters Association, you know, it is free. I think that's what's bringing the indie artists to that. It's basically people who, like-minded, like me and you, will, you know, go into that particular music support network free of charge. We work together as artists, we support each other as artists, we grow as artists, and those awards do open big doors. Look at Caden Gordon on the Caden Gordon show and how many people that he is promoting at this very moment, you know, and how his career has basically grown. And lots of people are using him as a promoter. Lots of people are using him to support on the radio shows. My Indie Radio, you know, who sponsor us, you know, them themselves being award winners. It's opened doors to mix with artists to be able to play their shows 7 days a week. You know, it opens up a lot of doors. And, you know, I'm excited this year because for the very first time, One Life podcast and, you know, music show is nominated for an award, and I'm so excited about April because actually I get an opportunity to put One Life on the map, to be able to open up those doors to many avenues in the music industry. And it's not just about winning an award, it's about showing everybody what One Life has been doing over the past 6 years to help local and national charities build a bigger bond with the world. You know, I think it's even more important now, especially as we are losing money to governments, to war, to famine. You know, we need money now more than anything in the world right now because the local charities are running dry because the government money isn't there anymore. And that's why One Life is really building up a big community of strength. And, you know, every time I come on a show, I am proud of every single one of you who come on the show and every single member who joins One Life. And that means to me more because at the end of the day, like Heart and Stroke this month, we're able to continue to raise the recognition, raise the money, get the support, and we save lives. And that's what's important to me, is making sure we save lives and we make people in a better place. So in terms of Heart and Stroke this evening, we're 35 minutes into the show, and I think it's really important we concentrate a bit on the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So what we're going to do is we're going to give Bruce a bit of rest. We are going to show the video from the Heart and Stroke Foundation. It's only about 2 minutes long this evening. It's a video from a young man called Will, and it is his story. So like every single time that we put a video on, please, 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 if you're affected by tonight's reel and story by Will, please pick up a phone to a friend or a family member. Reach out, okay? You're not on your own, okay? One Life is there with you, okay? But also just remember, there are amazing charities just like the Heart and Stroke Foundation who will give you the information that you need, okay? So Bruce, I'm just going to pause us for a minute. I'm going to put this video on for everybody and I will be right back with you.
The odds of surviving cardiac arrest are pretty low to begin with, and then being able to survive with brain functionality is even less, and so in 2004, I was in high school, grade 12. Out of nowhere, I dropped out of my chair with no explanation. The first person that came was the bio teacher, who I'm forever grateful for. The paramedics were there, and they were able to get me on a gurney on the way to the hospital. My heart stopped a few more times along the way, and when I got to the hospital, they told my family that there was a pretty low chance of survival and had someone come in to read my last rites, because they didn't think I was going to survive. I came back, and about a month later, I was there, I was healthy. My mom could recognize my voice, and it was me. So seeing that I could still make fun of my brothers in the room, and it made her pretty happy.
If you're unfortunate enough to come in with a very large heart attack and you come in late, there may be significant damage that's irreversible. At the moment, our therapies will try and maintain function, but in my mind, that's not good enough. So the key heart study that we have at the moment is called the ENACT AMI study. And what it is we take your own cells, we supercharge them, rejuvenate them, and we can deliver your own cells back where hopefully they'll improve the function of the organ, such as the heart or the kidney. Yes, we've made improvements. People are living better quality of life and are living a longer life. But when we talk about 1 in 4 will be dead at 1 year, 50% at 5 years, it tells us we have a huge way to go. So that's why we need to do research so that we can move the field forward, and in doing so, hopefully answer the questions that we have today with new therapies for tomorrow. Please make a donation today to fund breakthroughs. Life, we don't want you to miss it.
Well, hey, pretty powerful, hey?
Yes, very much so.
Very much so. In relation to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, we thank you for all of your research into saving lives, and we know how important research is to saving lives and the support to the Heart and Stroke community. In relation to how you can support the Heart and Stroke community, we do know that it is a Canada national charity which has been chosen by Elizabeth. Like Elizabeth says on all of the shows this evening, if you're not in Canada, please donate to your local Heart and Stroke, campaign, which is across the world. I think in the music industry in particularly, looking after your heart, looking after your health, is one of the biggest ways in which you're going to manage to do 50 years in the music industry. When you're looking after yourself, you're not going to do 50 years in the music industry if you don't look after your heart, at the end of the day. So you've got to take time away from music. You've got to take time to look after yourself. So in relation to the One Life team, we always want to look after our artists and make sure that they're taking some time away from the music scene. But we also want to know what they do outside of the music scene. Okay, so Bruce, when you are having a day off and you put your guitar away, what do you get up to?
Well, the thing is, the music is the reward at the end of a lot of other work. So the work week is a lot of office hours. It's a lot of phoning and talking to different people and organizing this initiative or that initiative. And more and more, I'm driven not so much by monetary rewards. I took an oath of poverty when I became a singer-songwriter, and I haven't broke it yet. However, the more at this point, I'm more about leaving a legacy that's positive, and creating community through music. These days, the world, people of the world, have been divided on so many different levels, and music was in my early days the peace movement. Really meant the world to me. When you listen to songs that were about caring about each other and loving each other and not being fearful of each other. You know, we are better, stronger together. And that's something that has a message that's somewhat been lost at the present day. And no more, I can't imagine another time in my life where this message is more important. Kindness.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
we need to be
great.
kind to each other and to ourselves.
We do. Totally. You know, I'm 100% behind you. You know, we live in a world at the moment where everybody's so angry at each other. You know, everybody's got something to say which is going to cause another famine or another war or whatever. You know, so for yourself, you know, yeah, great message to the world. It really is. In relation to that message to the world, it was yesterday's news in relation to your 50 years, because we're going to play that song, and then what we're going to do is we're going to find out the new news in Bruce's life, because we've got the rest of 2025 to go with some amazing things to happen this year, okay? So tell us a bit about yesterday's news, and then what we're going to do is we're going to empty your pockets with our quiz. Okay, and we're going to celebrate 50 years in the music industry when it comes to a quiz, and we're going to find out what the last 50 years has brought us in terms of music. But we're only going to give you and the audience 10 seconds to guess our songs, okay? And if you get those songs wrong, remember, it's a donation to the Heart and Stroke that we're seeking, okay? And remember, in the audience, please play against our artists, because a lot of these things they should really know about, okay? So let's tell us about yesterday's news. What's that song about and how was it written?
That song I wrote when I was 14 years old. And I knew right away that it was somewhat pretentious for a 14-year-old to be writing a blues song. I've played at a few coffee houses, that sort of thing, and then it sort of got filed away for about 3.5 decades. And an old friend got a hold of me through Facebook, and he says, well, I've got this old cassette recording of you playing at this coffee house. And so I listened to it, and it was yesterday's news, and I was just about to record my 14th album. Wow. And I thought, yeah. So I got the musicians that I thought were going to really resonate with this sort of music. So it's an upright bass. It's a trap kit, not a big drum set. It's a trap kit, upright bass, and a Hammond organ.
Fantastic. Well, everybody enjoyed the song just as much as I've done before the show this evening. It's a great song. Please enjoy it, okay? This is yesterday's news, everyone.
Ain't this a fine time? I got the blues. I should be dancing, holes in my shoes. When you got nothing, then there's nothing to lose. I feel like yesterday's news. I'm in the wrong place, wrong time of year. Not much of anything happens round here. Late nights in the footlights, paying your dues. I feel like yesterday's news. Nothing but gray skies and rain overhead. Nothing but dark nights alone in my bed. Feel like this heart of mine's been battered and bruised. Feels like I've been used, worn down and abused. Nothing but gray skies and rain overhead. Nothing but dark nights alone in my bed. Feel like this heart of mine's been battered and bruised. I feel like I've been used, torn down and abused. I'm in the wrong place, wrong time of year. Not much of anything happens round here. Same old sidewalk, same old lonely avenues. I feel like yesterday's news. Yesterday's sorrows and yesterday's blues. I feel like yesterday's news.
Beautiful. That's an amazing voice, Bruce. You really have. You know, absolutely stunning. No wonder you won that in 2024. But I'll tell you what, Bruce, I'm sorry. Bruce, move over. You're yesterday's news because we've got new artists coming in 2025, okay? So have you, being a judge this year, have you listened to some of the new music that's coming through this year?
Not as yet. I haven't been quite put in the loop quite yet.
Not been in the loop quite yet. So you don't know who's coming over to Atlanta in 2025. You haven't been listening to the amount of talent that is in the ISSA this year. I have seen some of the artists that have been put in. I think it's the biggest award show this year in relation to the amount of people who have entered into the actual show this year. You have got a busy time to, you know, go through all of those people in terms of the awards. Everybody's going to be scrambling for votes as your votes in the awards start next month in terms of getting the nominations in. You know, what are you looking for as a judge? You know, when you're looking for somebody who's going to go and win that gold medal, you know, away from you who won it in 2024, what type of thing that they've got to bring to the music industry to be sort of recognized just as much as what you've been?
I think for me to give my vote, the music has to be organic. That's I'm somewhat a snob when it comes to electronic drums and loops and stuff like that. To me, yeah, as asking AI to help write your bass run while you're working off a pre-recorded rhythm track, digitized rhythm track, is just not the same as sitting down with a rhythm section and jamming through a tune till you found that commonality, that flow. There's so much, and organically, as far as lyrics that can relate to. I don't want to hear a bunch of attitude, rappy kind of sort of things. Not my concept. And maybe I'm just getting too old. But you know, when I hear rap in country music, it sounds like crap.
I
Because it's not,
apologise to all the country and rap artists out there. Bruce, seriously, come on. You're meant to be judging all genres. Muriel will be smacking you on the backside.
I'm judging them harshly. But that's, I mean, that's me. Best to let me listen to the folk and Americana artists and people who have that same idea of music that connects, reflects who we are as people. My own, I want to, my whole, I guess, protocol is to immerse myself in music and try and draw people in rather than try to blast it in their face.
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, you've got some great judges joining you this year in terms of award winners from last year. You know, Muriel's joined us this evening. Hi, Muriel. For My Indie Radio, you know, she's basically saying that she's glad to share as an ISSA judge with such a talented artist like yourself, you know, Bruce. You know, Muriel will be also helping you judge those new artists coming through in 2025. You know, we're all looking forward to being and sitting where you are and winning one of those prestigious awards. You know, it's very, very exciting time for all us new artists to be able to be honoured to take one of those awards home over in Atlanta. You know, it's a really exciting time. In relation to what we're going to do next, we are going to do our quiz. Muriel loves doing a bit of a quiz with us. That's why she always pops on towards the end of the show, because she tries to beat the artist every single time. And I'll tell you what, I want to be on Muriel's pub quiz team, because at the end of the day, she's always getting the questions right. So if you're ever anywhere near France and there's a pub quiz going on, please get Muriel involved, because she makes sure that she'll win you lots of money. And so, Muriel, if you're playing this evening, we are going to go through 50 years of 50 great years of music, okay? And we are going to try and guess what the song is. The quiz only lasts for about a couple of minutes. There is literally 10 questions. Remember what the rules are, everybody. You are playing against the artist this evening. If you get a lower score than the artist, please put your money into the Heart and Stroke Foundation. And also for the artist, if you get those questions wrong, please donate as well, okay? If it's not to the Heart and Stroke Foundation over in Canada, please make sure you do it to one of your local or national departments of the Heart and Stroke. Okay, so here's your trivia. I'm going to put it on for you. I'm going to go in the background and we'll see where we go from here, okay? So here we go. Let's see if we can hear it first. Okay, could you hear the introduction music?
Just, yeah.
Just. Okay, let's see if we can turn it up a little bit, because it's a bit quiet on our end. Let's see if I can do that for you. If not, you're going to just have to put your ear to the screen so you can hear it. Unfortunately, we are using YouTube. We obviously have no copyright for this, but thank you, YouTube, for enabling us to use your great quizzes, because at the end of the day, that is helping many people out there in the community, okay? So when you put that strike on my video this evening, just remember we're there for the community and for the local charities, okay? So on this one, they are... Oh, hang on. Get back on the stage. They are our questions. Actually, that's not music this time. We've got questions, actually. So if you want to take the quiz interaction, we put the link in the description, okay? There you have lots of different quizzes. Okay, so these are questions this evening, Muriel. Okay, we've not got music this evening. We have got questions. So it's questions over the last 50 years, okay? It could be any artist from the last 50 years. Let's see what the questions are, shall we? Oh, okay, let's start with Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton sang which of these songs back in 1982? Bruce, do you know that answer?
I'm not making up the choices.
Okay, so the choices are: It's a Heartache, Wasting My Time, 9 to 5, You Beat Me to the Punch.
9 to 5.
Let's see if you're right. Congratulations, you're right. 9 to 5 it was in 1982 by Dolly Parton. Okay, the Rolling Stones sang which of these songs back in 1969? And your choices are Theme from Shaft, Jumping Jack Flash, Mirrors, or Burning Heart.
Jumping Jack Flash.
Of course it was.
Played at my first garage band.
It was Jumping Jack Flash. Okay, the Bee Gees sang which of these songs back in 1976, the year that AJ was born? Chain Hang Low, Theme from Monogamy, The Way You Move, and Jive Talking.
Jive Talking.
Jive Talking, of course it was. You're doing well, you're doing well. Okay, 1978 now. Rose Royce sang which of these songs back in 1978? Only Hurts for a While, Car Wash, Gangster Lean, or Catch My Breath?
Working at the car wash.
Yeah, of course it was a car wash. This is too easy this evening. We're going into the 90s now. It might not be so easy. Our younger generation was saying, can we get some newer songs and we might know them? Milli Vanilli sang which of these songs back in 1990? Blame It on the Rain.
They didn't. They didn't. They just lip-synced.
They just lip-synced. Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Almost Paradise, Love Footloose, and Have You Seen Her?
Ooh, Milli Vanilli? Sorry,
Vanilli.
Okay, what was the choices again?
It was Blame It on the Rain, Blame It on the Rain, Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Almost Paradise, and Have You Seen Her? Vanessa's just got home from Manchester and she's waving her finger at me. Okay, let's see if you got it right, Vanessa.
It must be the first one because I recognize the other ones that aren't.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Bruce, if it makes you feel any better, Vanessa's sitting here next to me, waving her finger and going, number one, Blame It on the Rain.
That's
so let's see if you're both right. It is Blame It on the Rain. Well done, you two. Okay, Kenny Chesney and Uncle Cracker sang which of these songs back in 2005? My Girl, Go Now, When the Sun Goes Down, or Paparazzi?
I have to say When the Sun Goes Down.
You've got When the Sun Goes Down. Vanessa? I've lost the question, sorry. You've lost the question, okay. We'll take Bruce's answers. Vanessa's not joining in now. So When the Sun Goes Down. Okay, Bruce, let's see if that's right. When the Sun Goes Down. Bruce, you're good. The Four Seasons sung which of these songs back in 1995? December 1963, Oh What a Night, I'm Coming Out, After the Rain, Down Low, Nobody Has to Know.
Oh, what a night. 8 December back in 63.
Vanessa said the same. It is Oh What a Night. Question 8. The Turtles sang... Was there really a band called the Turtles?
Yes.
The Turtles sang which of these songs back in 1968? That's All I Want From You, Promise, Edge of 17, and Happy Together.
So happy together.
And Vanessa also says Paul as well. Are you on Google? Stop cheating. I bet Bruce isn't on Google. I bet he's doing it all from memory. Did you know? Actually, he wasn't here. Bruce, would tell Vanessa your famous thing that you told us right at the beginning of the show. Apparently, Bruce can memorize 5,000 songs. He's a human jukebox. That's a really fascinating thing to do. Okay, so happy together. Was it happy together?
I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right. Yep.
We're happy together. It is happy together. Okay, the last one. Do we actually get anything out of Bruce Coughlan this evening? Or is he going to walk away scot-free with 10 out of 10? Blood, Sweat and Tears sang which of these songs back in 1970? So Rare, Break It Off, The Lazy Song, You Made Me So Very Happy.
You made me so very happy.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm glad I have made you happy this evening. In relation to making you very happy, are we making you happy because you are walking away scot-free with no money coming out of that pocket of yours? Okay, let's see if you are. Oh, look at that. Question 10 out of 10. We've got one more, actually. It was only 9. Joss Felicino sung which of these songs back in 1969? We still may have time to catch you out. When I'm Back on My Feet Again, Sometimes When We Touch, Light My Fire, or Just Another Dream?
Light My Fire, the Doors tune that Jose remade.
Light My Fire. Vanessa, which one did you say? Did you say number 2 as well?
I said 2. I thought Light My Fire was the Doors.
You thought Light My Fire was the Doors. Let's see if you are both wrong, or are you both right?
Maybe I'm...
It is Light My Fire.
Oh, I lost.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found a master in music with 5,000 songs in his head. No wonder he is good at quizzes. When you come over to Scotland, I shall meet you in Scotland, and we're going to go to a pub quiz, because at the end of the day, we take all the money out of the machine, and we also take all the money out of the residents. Okay, fantastic. Well done. Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Please remember the Heart and Stroke campaign need all of your help. Whether you just share that website this evening or make a donation, whatever you can, please, please, please do so. Muriel says, he's so clever. And just to let you know that Muriel was joining in, and she had got Car Wash right. And also Jumping Jack Flash, she had got right as well. Muriel, you love a good quiz. Absolutely love it. So we're nearly towards the end of the show. It's been an absolutely amazing time with Bruce Coughlan. We're going to find out what he's going to be up to in 2025 before he goes. So have we got any amazing things coming up for you in 2025?
Yes. I have a new band that I'm part of called Peacenik Collective. And we sing songs to connect and reflect who we are as humans. We sing songs about diversity and, just basically kindness. It's a step back to the peace movement of the late 60s and 70s. And we all are composers and write our own music. So we're just in the process of reaching out to different communities to host what we call peace parties. Peace party is where people come together and are able to accept each other and express themselves. If you identify as Celtic and you want to come in your full tartan and the whole then by all means wear it well. And it doesn't matter if you're bisexual or if you're gay or however you want to represent yourself, whoever your true self is. We want to see it. We want to see you parade it, and we want to see you own it, and we express our kindness and our acceptance for all wildlife.
Brilliant. Bruce, you know what? That's a brilliant way to end the show, because I think at the end of the day, there's not enough love in this world. And all of the communities who join your peace party from a famous Austin Powers. Yeah, baby, that sounds amazing. It sounds fun. It sounds good. Get down to the peace party. Enjoy that party. Enjoy that ride, because this young man is going to make sure you have a really, really good time. Is there anyone out there you want to say a special thank you to in terms of your music journey and your music career?
Well, right now, I'd like to thank Hubcast Online. They are going to be hosting our first online peace party on April 27th. You can check out Peacenik Collective.
Everyone.
Yep, you
Brilliant.
please do, because we'll be having a listening party, a peace party, and we invite everybody to join us.
Fantastic. That's something to look forward to and put in your diaries on April the 27th, okay? I really look forward to that. Do you know what I have looked forward to is actually meeting all these amazing guests, sharing all their amazing stories. It has been an amazing week for the Heart and Stroke campaign. So One Life moves away from week 3 and we move over to week 4, and we look forward to welcoming you all to the last week for the Heart and Stroke. And I'm also looking forward to finding out who we're going to be supporting in April. Can't believe how quickly this month's gone. It's gone so quick, but you've been absolutely amazing out there, continuing to support Elizabeth Ertel and her amazing Heart and Stroke, and I thank you all. Okay, so I'm going to go off air now. I'm going to go and take a little bit of rest, but we'll see you back on next week, okay? Keep yourself safe and enjoy the ride, okay? And enjoy that great music what's out there as well, okay? Take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you again soon, okay? Take care. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye now.